In America today, knee pain has become almost expected after 60. More than 28 million older adults report stiffness, aching, grinding, or instability in their knees. For many, it starts quietly, a little soreness getting out of the car, a strange crackle when walking up the stairs, a dull ache after sitting through a TV show. Nothing dramatic, just small discomforts that slowly pile up. But here's the surprising truth. Most Americans with knee pain never injured their knees. They never fell, never tore a ligament, never suffered a major accident. Their knee problems didn't begin with a sudden moment. They began with a daily habit, so subtle and so common that almost no one questions it. When researchers from Stanford University and the National Institute on Aging analyzed knee mechanics in adults over 60, they discovered something remarkable. The fastest knee deterioration came not from running, not from exercise, not from age, but from a repeated motion Americans perform dozens of times per day, often without thinking, a motion that seems harmless, a motion most people learn as children, a motion so routine that it hides in plain sight. And yet, this one movement increases pressure inside the knee by up to 270%, according to force mapping studies. It overstretches the tendons around the kneecap. It grinds down cartilage slowly, silently, and the worst part, the damage compounds over years, so by the time knee pain appears, the pattern has already been reinforced thousands of times. Meanwhile, in Japan, elders routinely avoid this destructive movement, not because they're trying to protect their knees, but simply because their daily habits evolved differently, and the result is undeniable. Japanese seniors maintain longer knee lifespan, greater joint fluidity, and better lower body control than American seniors the same age. So, what is this habit? Not deep squatting, not kneeling, not sitting cross-legged, not climbing stairs. It's something far simpler, a common American movement performed with the wrong mechanics, day after day, year after year. Before I reveal it, ask yourself this: do you ever feel a sharp pinch behind the kneecap when you stand up? Do your knees pop when you climb stairs? Do your legs feel heavy on your first few steps after resting? Does your knee pain disappear after walking, only to return later? Do you grab surfaces more often when getting up? These small signs don't mean your knees are old. They mean your knees are overworked by a motion your hips should be handling instead. And here's the part researchers found most disturbing. When adults over 60 stop performing this habit, or simply modify it, knee pain often decreases within weeks, cartilage strain reduces, and stability improves, not through exercise, not through strengthening routines, simply through changing one daily motion that Americans have been doing incorrectly for decades. If you're over 60, this might be one of the most important things you learn about your body. Because the pain you feel isn't coming from age. It's coming from a lifetime of loading the knee in a way the human body was never designed for. The truth is simple: your knees are not failing you, your habits are. And there is a way to fix it, safely, gently, and without adding more stress to already sensitive joints. In the next part, we're going to reveal the knee-destroying movement nearly every American over 60 performs daily, often more than 50 times a day. We'll look at what it does inside the joint, why it accelerates where, and how to correct it using a technique inspired by long-living cultures where knee pain is far less common. This is not about exercising harder. It's not about avoiding activity. It's about learning to move in a way that protects your knees instead of tearing them down piece by piece. The movement damaging American knees more than any other is simple, ordinary, and performed dozens of times per day. It's descending into a chair the wrong way. Not sitting itself, but how Americans sit down. Biomechanics labs across the US have shown that when most older adults lower themselves into a chair, couch, car seat, or toilet seat, they perform the same harmful pattern. They drop straight down, letting gravity pull them faster than their muscles can control. Their torso tilts forward. Their weight shifts to the toes. The knees shoot forward past the toes, taking almost the entire load. The hips, which are designed to absorb the force, stay passive. This combination creates a sharp spike of stress inside the knee joint. A single sit down like this isn't a big deal, but multiply it 10 times in the morning, 15 times around meals, 20 to 30 times during TV or computer breaks, plus every bathroom trip, plus every time in and out of a car by the end of the day. An American over 60 may load their knees 60 to 100 times through the exact motion that causes the highest compressive force on the joint. And here's what researchers discovered. When adults drop quickly into a chair, knee pressure increases by up to 3x compared to a controlled descent. The quadriceps front thigh muscles dominate, but the glutes barely activate. The patella kneecap presses harder against the femur, creating irritation and inflammation over time. Microstrain builds around the tendons that stabilize the knee. The hips, meant to carry most of the load, stay asleep. Over decades, this pattern slowly wears down the cartilage, not in one dramatic moment, but through thousands of tiny, repeated impacts. Think of it like a hinge on a door. It doesn't break because of one big swing. It breaks because the door was opened wrong every single time. Now here's the shocking contrast. In countries with low rates of knee pain in older adults, including Japan, Korea, and parts of Southeast Asia, seniors rarely descend into seats the way Americans do. Their daily lowering movements naturally spread the force across the hips, core, and ankles. Their bodies share the load. American bodies dump the load directly into the knees. It's not genetics. It's not magic. It's mechanics. But there is a second part to the story. And this is where knee researchers became truly concerned. In hundreds of motion capture analyses, American seniors showed a predictable pattern while sitting down. They stopped using the hips first. Then they stopped using the ankles. Eventually, the knees become the last active joint. Over time, the body becomes knee dependent. Every sit down becomes knee first, knee heavy, and knee straining. Imagine dropping down into a car seat using only one joint. That joint is going to age much faster. But why does this happen in America more than elsewhere? It's not because Americans move less. It's because American furniture encourages knee-dominant movement. Most chairs in the US are to high to soft to deep, angled backward, designed for comfort, not joint health. When a chair is to high, your knees must push harder to control the drop. When it's to soft, your hips sink suddenly, forcing the knees to catch the fall. When it's deep or angled backward, your torso leans forward, shifting even more force into the joints. By contrast, Japanese homes traditionally use lower seating, cushions, tatami mats, or firm stools. These environments naturally encourage hip-dominant movement, lowering with control, using more muscle groups, and sharing force evenly. American knees never get this protective pattern. They get decades of abrupt, knee-first drops. Here's the part researchers found most alarming. People with early knee pain tend to sit down faster than those without pain. Faster descent equals higher joint stress. Higher stress equals faster deterioration, which causes even faster descent as people try to avoid discomfort. The cycle feeds itself, but the good news is almost unbelievable. When adults over 60 switch to a hip-first sit-down, knee pressure drops dramatically, even if the knee's already sensitive. In clinical observations, some participants reported less knee discomfort within days simply by changing this one habit. Not through exercise, not through strength training, not through stretching, just through learning to lower the body correctly. And this leads to the most important realization. It's not sitting down that destroys American knees. It's sitting down the same way, thousands of times, with the wrong mechanics. In the next part, we're going to break down the exact alternative movement pattern, inspired by long-living cultures, that protects the knees, absorbs force through the hips, and distributes weight safely. A simple change, just a few seconds long, practiced a handful of times per day, can dramatically reduce stress on the joints and give your knees the relief they've been needing for years. Now that you understand the real issue, the knee first, knee dominant descent that quietly overloads the joints, it's time to look at the corrective pattern researchers found can dramatically reduce knee stress. This pattern isn't an exercise. It's not a stretch. It's not even a workout. It is simply a replacement movement for the way you've been sitting down your entire life. And here's the key. You don't have to sit on the floor. You don't have to be flexible. You don't need strong legs or perfect balance. You just need to switch from a knee-first drop to a hip-first hinge. When Stanford's Human Movement Lab analyzed movement mechanics in seniors, they discovered that when older adults hinge at the hips, instead of collapsing through the knees, the force on the joint decreases sharply. In fact, the knee load reduces so dramatically that some researchers now believe this technique may be one of the simplest ways to delay knee deterioration. So let's break it down. The protective motion begins with a step older Americans rarely think about: sending the hips back before the knees bend. That's it, one small shift that changes everything. Here's what happens inside the body. When you move this way, the glutes activate immediately, taking pressure off the knees. The hamstrings lengthen and support the descent. The quadriceps stop dominating, reducing the compressive force behind the kneecap. The center of gravity stays controlled instead of dropping suddenly. The knee bends naturally, not forcibly. This isn't athletic training, it's physics. Force follows the path of least resistance. When the hips move first, force travels into the strongest muscle group. When the knees move first, force crashes straight into the joint. What surprised researchers most was how quickly seniors adapted. Once adults over 60 learned the motion, they reported less knee discomfort from daily activities. Not because their knees suddenly healed, but because they stopped punishing the joint with every sit-down. Many described it as a relief I didn't know was possible. But this is only part of the protective routine. The second corrective adjustment is what researchers call controlled descent, lowering the body slightly slower than gravity wants you to. Not excessively slow, just enough to keep the muscles engaged. In Japan, this happens naturally because people use firmer seating and lower surfaces that require more control. In the US, soft couches encourage collapsing, not lowering. The solution is simple: send the hips back, maintain light tension in the glutes, lower smoothly, then release into the seat. That little resistance, even 1 second longer, strengthens the muscles that protect the knees for the rest of your life. The third part of the corrective pattern has nothing to do with sitting down. It's about what happens right before you sit. Movement Labs observed that many American seniors step backward until their legs hit the chair, then fall backward suddenly. That backwards drop puts even more pressure on the knees. Japanese elders, by contrast, approach seats differently. They position their feet exactly where they want them before lowering. To copy this, simply plant your feet shoulder width apart, stabilize, and then hinge. This small change reduces sideways torque on the knees, something that contributes to joint wear more than most people realize. The fourth factor is foot angle. When seniors point their toes outward too much, the knee rotates inward during descent. When their toes point inward, the knee folds outward. Both patterns create joint shear. But when the feet point forward or slightly outward, just 5 to 10 degrees, the knee tracks in a healthy, aligned path. This reduces ligament strain, tendon stress, and joint friction. It's such a small detail that it seems insignificant, but the knee notices every millimeter of misalignment. The fifth element of the corrected movement is contact awareness, knowing when your body meets the seat. Many seniors collapse the last few inches without realizing it. That little flop creates some of the highest impact forces of the entire descent. To correct this, you simply slow down for the last inch or two. Not dramatically, just enough to land your weight softly. Researchers found that soft landings reduce knee impact by up to 40%. And here's something fascinating. When seniors used this method consistently, they didn't just protect their knees, they strengthened their hips, improved their balance, and moved with more confidence overall. The body began to feel more stable because its biggest muscles were finally doing the job they were meant to do. Many people say knee pain makes them feel old. But what actually makes people feel old is the loss of control, that sense that movements are becoming harder, heavier, or unpredictable. This new pattern begins to reverse that trend. It gives control back to the body. It gives softness back to the knees. It rewrites a lifetime of knee-first movements into hip-first strength. In the final part, we'll put everything together into the 4-step knee-safe sit routine use immediately, plus daily habits Japanese and American researchers both agree can protect knee joints as you age. This is where the transformation really begins. Now that you understand the dangerous knee-first pattern and how to replace it with the hip-first hinge, it's time to put everything together into a simple, realistic routine follow every day. This isn't exercise. It's not therapy. It's a movement upgrade you apply to the sit-downs you already perform dozens of times. Researchers call this the knee-safe sit, and it's broken down into 4 clear steps. When these steps become automatic, your knees finally get the break they've been needing for years. Let's walk through them. Step 1. Plant underline before lowering yourself. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. Hip width apart, toes pointing forward, or slightly outward to 5 to 10 degrees at most. This tiny detail matters more than most people know. When your feet angle sharply outward, the knee rotates inward. When they angle inward, the knee rotates outward. Both patterns twist the joint with every sit-down. By aligning the feet properly, you create a straight, stable line from hip to knee to ankle. This alignment reduces strain and keeps the knee tracking smoothly. It's the difference between landing on a twisted hinge versus a straight one. Take 1 second, literally 1, to place your feet right. This single change begins protecting the knee before any movement has even started. Step 2. The hip first hinge. Next comes the most important part of the entire routine. Before the knees bend, send the hips back. Imagine you're trying to reach your tailbone toward the back of the chair. Not far. Just a small shift. The moment your hips move back, everything changes. Your glutes activate, your hamstrings support your weight, your torso stays controlled, your knees stop shooting forward. The joint load drops dramatically. This is the movement your body was designed to use, but modern habits have erased it. When Stanford researchers introduced this technique to seniors with knee stiffness, almost every participant felt noticeably less strain within the first session. Some described it as the first time sitting didn't hurt in years. This isn't magic, it's biomechanics. When the strongest muscles do their job, the knees finally relieved from overwork. Step 3. Controlled descent. Now, begin lowering yourself slowly enough that your muscles stay engaged, but not so slowly that it becomes a workout. The goal is a smooth, steady drop, not a sudden collapse. 2 seconds down, not 1, not 5, 2. This pace is long enough to activate the glutes, control momentum, protect the kneecap, prevent sudden compression, improve joint lubrication, strengthen the stabilizers around the knee. Biomechanics labs have measured this exact descent speed. The 2-second drop produces significantly less joint compression than the typical American chair plop. It's a small window, but the knee feels every moment. As you lower, keep your chest lifted slightly and your spine long. This isn't about posture. It's about balance. When the torso collapses forward, the knees take more load. When the torso stays balanced, the hips stay engaged. This is how Japanese elders move naturally, not because they're trained, but because their daily habits reinforce control instead of collapse. Step 4. The soft landing. The final few inches matter more than people realize. Most Americans let go right before reaching the seat, a tiny free fall that spikes pressure through the knee joint. That little plop is one of the highest impact moments in the entire lowering movement. Instead, aim for a quiet landing. Feel the surface under you. Lower the last inch with awareness. Sit softly, not suddenly. This soft landing reduces joint impact by up to 40% in lab tests. And here's something fascinating. Seniors who practice soft landings often report an unexpected benefit: improved balance. Because when your mind stays present for that last inch, your body learns to stabilize itself through subtle shifts. These small moments translate into real-world stability, stepping off curbs, climbing stairs, or catching yourself after slipping. The daily knee reset. If you want the fastest results, choose a few chair transitions each day to practice this pattern deliberately. Not all of them, just a few. Once when you wake up, once during lunch, once in the afternoon, once in the evening. That's it. 4 mindful sits, 4 hip-first hinges, 4 controlled descents. As your body learns the motion, it becomes automatic. You won't even have to think about it. And once it becomes a habit, every sit-down protects your knees instead of punishing them. What most seniors don't realize: knee pain is not an automatic part of aging. It's a mechanical problem, repeated thousands of times. When you stop loading the knee incorrectly, the discomfort often decreases faster than people expect. Because the issue was never old knees, it was overworked knees. Even adults in their 70s and 80s can relearn the correct pattern. The body responds to better mechanics at any age. Cartilage responds to better load distribution. Muscles respond to better activation. Joints respond to smoother tracking. Your knees aren't worn out. They're asking for a help. This movement pattern is that help. The final message: if you're over 60, understand this. It's not squatting that damages your knees. It's not stairs. It's not walking. It's not standing. It's the thousands of tiny, uncontrolled sit-downs that quietly overload the joints year after year. Fix the pattern, and you protect your knees every day without adding extra exercise, equipment, or strain. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you noticed your knees hurting most when sitting down, standing up, or climbing stairs? Tell me in the comments. I read everyone. And remember, age doesn't destroy knees. Habits do, and habits can always be changed.